Okay, with music video director Alex Chacon, "Take Her to Leave It" is the music video by Sarah James. Really interesting video. I like the song a lot, and how did you get involved with Sarah to do this video?
Yeah, so I've been working with Sarah for quite some time now, as her social media manager, and then I also am a musician myself, so I had a pretty strong background in doing music videos and such. But this project was her first real music video, and it was kind of the song that she wrote was a really, uh, you know it was a song that she was really passionate about, essentially. So yeah, she wanted to make a really strong message with it, and so we kind of wanted to up the production level on it and kind of put a little bit more effort than you normally would into a video, and that's what you get. So
So,
yeah.
so thematically, what's the video slash song about? Like, what are you trying to say?
Uh, I mean, I wish Sarah was here to
No,
discuss
it's good
this a
to
little
see your
bit more than
interpretation.
me.
Yeah,
But really, the song is really, it's just like, this is who I am. And if you don't like who I am, then you can walk away,
yeah.
essentially. But really, it's just, an anthem for people to, feel comfortable with who they are. And, it's okay to be exactly who you are. And you don't have to impress anybody. Life is short and, um, you need to be happy with who you are and be in a community and in a situation that's going to make you thrive and you know be comfortable. And I think that's really what Sarah was trying to convey with her messaging.
So what I got out of it is that is it's still along the same lines of what you're saying is that don't be phony, just stay true to yourself, and if someone doesn't like you for who you are, then they don't have to be in your life, right?
Absolutely.
Easier said than
Absolutely.
done, though, right? Especially when it
I
comes
mean,
to
yeah,
family.
I mean, there's also, there's a lot of what is the word? There's a lot of give and take, I think, with
Yeah,
that messaging, obviously. And but Sarah is again, just very passionate about that. And she comes from her background that, I think she's trying to relating to, or she's trying to let other people out there know that it's okay, to be
yeah.
who you are. So yeah.
So this seems to be this message, which I love, by the way. It seems to be a kind of a new generational thing, even though like Sarah, like Sarah's in probably my generation. But what I mean by that is that it's something that like 20 years ago you go to a therapist and they would say you have to love your parents, like make sure you stay true to your parents, you know what I mean. It would be like kind of along the lines of like they're your parents, they love you, blah blah blah, right? Which is probably true, but then now we're in a kind of new kind of therapy session where like not just therapy in general but therapy like as a macro, as like no, it's like you're compromising yourself, and that leads to depression, that leads to like excess of food, drugs, etc., right? Meaning that like this is sort of the message I got from the film is that fuck everybody else, I'm just going to be who I am, and then let the consequences fall as they may, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect kind of that's a perfect similarity, like story kind of thing as far as um, parents in general, like that whole philosophy of like, hey, they're your parents, you have to deal with toxic behavior,
Yeah,
and regardless of whatever it's doing to you, mentally or physically, they're your parents, so you have to deal with it. And nowadays, I mean, that's just not the message that is, um, I don't think that's the messaging that therapists are trying to give out anymore, but
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
And as a parent myself, it makes me a better person because you gotta like make sure that the kid just be like you don't like let the kid be their own selves. Don't kind of like
100%.
infiltrate your ideologies on them. Like you kind of guide them, but make sure that they're their own individual, right?
100%. Absolutely.
All right, so let's talk about the video in itself because you got, I guess it's two different kind of structures where you have the narrative, where you have the home environment, the narrative, and then you have her actually like singing on stage with her band, and you kind of like cutting back and forth, I guess, right?
Yep. Yep. So there's two stories happening there. of two separate kind of things that are happening. You have that couple there that's coming out to their family, and then you have the other non-binary individual that is essentially just kind of being judged walking down the street. And then they're coming together, you know, in a I'm so sorry, my brain is just not working, which is hilarious. Because I have another podcast I have to do after this. I Yeah, they're coming together in like a her concert, which is a very comforting, you know, accepting audience. So yeah, that was kind of like the story behind that. Um,
But there's also like the LGBT, like I guess like they're like a gay couple, I guess,
Yep. Yep.
and then you got the guy with like you're kind of reading between the lines. Like the guy's got the cross, and then like the grandma, I guess, drinking her wine and is like,
It's
"What the fuck?"
funny that you grabbed all of that. Like, that's funny that you're looking into that. Because yeah, there's part of that, you know, there's some of Sarah's backstory. And that was the thing that she wanted to incorporate into that. Her backstory was that she was a part of a lot of the Christian communities that was not very accepting of her coming out. And so, you know, she's like, there is a lot of communities out there that are accepting of that, you know, and you know, like God is love essentially. So yeah, I think there was a that portrayal of that was it was a little hint of Sarah putting that in there and wanting it intentionally. So I love that you mentioned that.
Well, there's some interesting casting choices, right? Because you got there's a shot of like the white middle class, the whitest guy in the world, right? Like the red shirt and the shorts, and he's like in front of his lawn that he loves probably because he's a white guy and like I'm from this world, so basically
Right.
and so like he's like looking like what the hell, but then you got the next shot where like she's at a park and then like it's a black girl who's like I'm just kind of like seeing what I see, right? And the
Right.
black girl giving daughter kind of accepting her, giving her a flower to accept her, I guess, right?
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
So in the video, you can kind of like because it's a music video and it's like kind of experimental in nature. You're giving these kind of very like obvious kind of points to the imagery, I guess, right?
Right. Yeah, man, the challenge of putting all of that into that video in
Yeah.
such a short amount of time with specifically how much footage that we had. I mean, that was such a challenging point for me as an editor. Well, I had some help with the editing, but like putting the storyboard together with like the two stories and it just was like that was super challenging. So you know, I wish the song maybe would have been another minute long because then we could have like really gone into some of the details of what else we
Yeah.
filmed. Because there was a lot of good, you know, the actors on that did a really great job. There was so much more to tell, but yeah, very obvious. Hoping to be obvious with the messaging there with that storyline. And yeah.
So let's talk about the actual like footage of them doing their song because she's a kick-ass rocker. You kind of I liked her costume, leather pants, leather jacket, kind of like
Yeah.
she's a rocker. She's sexy. She's like she's doing her stuff, right? And
Yep.
at the same time, she's her own individual, right? So how do you like you got some interesting lighting in there and I'm sure like this is done like 1,000 times like a million times, right? These type of settings, how do you kind of like make it original? How do you give your own unique spin to it of something that's been done before?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of my philosophy on that is I don't really think about other people when I do something
So you
like
didn't
that.
do any research about like you didn't watch any other videos, you just kind of went on your
No,
own?
well, here's the thing, right? I'm actually, I have a background in AV, so I'm very familiar with, like, I'm a lighting director. Like, I've been doing
Okay.
that for over a decade. So I know all about like moving lights and LEDs and you know, being on a stage and having to program lights and kind of those textures. And we actually did bring, so we recorded that at venue called Last Exit Live in downtown Phoenix, but we also brought in our own lights. I had a light director there, so I could direct everything instead of doing lights too.
Mhm.
And so yeah, like it was pretty intentional with everything as far as the lights go that we were doing. But as far as originality goes, like most of what I do, like, and I think that if you're gonna be worried about like being original and trying to bring in that aspect of out of it, then you're probably never gonna get anything ever done because you're always gonna worry about, oh, this is copying this or that, or
Yeah, gotcha.
like I think that what I bring to the table, that's original is that it's me, it's Alex Chacon doing this. And behind every director, behind every creator, in essence, they have their own community and they're original to that community. And I would prefer to, it's original to the people that to my community. So like I'm not so concerned about like maybe it being not original to somebody else that's done it, um, as much as I am trying to convey the story for Sarah and then
Yeah,
do the best that I
absolutely.
can with the visuals.
Well, the way you did with the light, it's really cool lighting. So it's funny that you, or interesting for me that you kind of said that this is your forte because you created this large depth of field, right? This large stage, and I'm assuming it's not as large as it looks on camera.
Very small.
Yeah, but it looks large. You know what I mean? Like it's the way you did the lighting in the background, the lighting on the sides. It looks like a huge stage.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's a pretty small stage.
yeah,
And yeah, and even with the crowd and the thing, like we didn't have that many extras, so we had to move extras around with different
yeah,
shots and like really try and make it look like that was a huge crowd, when we were doing that. I mean, there was a decent amount of people. I want to say maybe 20, but that room could fill like at least 150, so we were doing our best to like try and like with a specific angle, so like okay, we need to put somebody here, put somebody here, put
yeah,
somebody here, and really kind of like situate people in a way where um we had a lot of people in there and it was a big crowd,
yeah,
and yeah, as far as the lighting goes, it's funny because when you have lower budget video production with those kinds of lights, there's, banding issues. There's all kinds of issues that you can have with lighting that's kind of a lower quality. So we did have to like skirt around a little bit of that, and I think that that kind of took away some of our flexibility as far as being cameramen because of the lighting issues that we had.
yeah.
But we were able to make it happen, man, with the story, and I was pretty happy with the final
Well,
product.
Well, yeah, you got the shots of like kind of the point of view of the audience, I guess, right? Kind of like looking up at her, so you can kind of manipulate the people kind of in front of the point of view, so which is a great shot. And then
Yeah.
you're like on the stage yourself, like you're like kind of voyeuring on the stage as a camera operator.
Yeah.
So, how many takes did you do? Like, did you just let them do this whole song and just kind of do footage and then figure it out editing, or
Yeah, so there's the storyline and then there's the performance footage. So
I'm talking about
essentially,
the performance footage? Yeah, yeah,
yeah, so the performance footage before, like it was a full day. So the first half of the day, it was the band, performance footage, got a bunch of different takes as much as we could. That kind of, that's how we set that up. And then the second half of the day, the crowd came in. There was a couple key points that we had to actually get with the footage and then performing, but we didn't do the entire song. But there was like any music video, you have to perform through the performance, 8 to 10 times. I like 8 to 10 times, depending on how many what your crew is like. If you have two cams,
yeah.
you can do it, a little less. But yeah, so that's kind of, how we did that.
And is that her band that she's playing with?
Everyone in there is basically her band. Yeah, Travis. I can't remember. Yeah, the funny thing is I don't know if you see the one of the guitar players is Ron Moss. And
Yeah.
Ron Moss is like a very famous actor, like incredibly famous. Like if you look up Ron Moss right now, you would be like, oh wow, holy shit. And he's a director on his own. He used to be, I think it's Bold and the Beautiful for
Oh, I
like
know that guy. He was,
a decade.
yeah. I used to. This is going. He goes way back to like when I was a teenager. My sisters and my mom used to watch Bold and the Beautiful. He was like Rick or
Yeah,
whatever. I can't remember his name, but
yeah. So,
yeah.
and then he
Oh,
also
that's
wrote
cool.
the
Yeah.
song "Baby Come Back" from Player. So like that was kind of like he was just kind of like in the video for fun, essentially. Um,
Oh, had
so
no idea that he's also
yeah,
yeah.
it's a little Easter egg for people
Yeah,
that
I love it.
know it and know, but he's got a huge
I
following
think
and
he's still on the show, right?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, because I remember he was like, but he was like the main character. Because I think I'm in Toronto, so it's like I think it's on in like 5 minutes as we're doing
Yeah.
this podcast. Bold
Yeah,
and
no.
Beautiful. It's on
It
for Young and
is
the Restless. So
yeah, he's still doing films and I mean definitely go check him out.
yeah,
He's definitely another creator for
that's so
sure.
cool. So what does
So
she know him, or how did he get into? How did he get into?
they're friends, yeah, friends
Yeah,
here locally and when Ron isn't living in Italy and he lives here in
yeah,
Arizona. So yeah.
yeah. Ridge. His name was Ridge.
Rich. Yep.
Yeah, he's not on the show anymore, but he was iconic,
Nope.
I guess. Yeah,
He is iconic
yeah.
for
That's
sure.
so cool. And so yeah, okay, now I'm watching the video and I'm seeing him because when I do the podcast, usually I'm like watching the film or the video in the background. So
Right.
now I see who he is. It's really
Yeah.
great costumes too, like the way that they designed it. Did you guys was that strategic on your end to kind of make sure that they're high rating?
We did have an MUA on this one that was helping us. Haley, I should know what her last name is, but I don't remember. I'm so sorry, Haley, if you watch this.
Yeah,
She Makeup by Haley, she's does a really great job. But as far as the costumes go, I mean, everyone else is kind of, I mean, these are actual musicians,
yeah,
so everyone's is on their, their musician game, and they had their dress code for this music video for sure. Sarah had like an intentional dress code. But yeah, no, everyone came prepared and yeah, MUA didn't have to do a whole lot, so that was good.
that's cool. And then what about the rest of the cast? Because for the non kind of band performance, like you had to get the cast of two girls, and then like you said,
Yep.
the extras. Where'd you find all them in Arizona?
Yeah, Arizona. So there's actually an extensive network of actors and actresses here in Arizona, and it's really just as easy as jumping onto Facebook and going to Arizona filmmakers community groups or actors community groups, reaching out there, and like there's a lot of opportunities for actors to do things for free, but we paid all of our actors and actresses and made sure everyone, even our extras, we paid them. And
Oh
you
wow,
want to make sure that you're taking care of those people for coming out and doing that stuff. Um, so yeah, that was like it's kind of like I think it's a misconception that it's hard to find actors or actresses or something like it's for videographers that sometimes I don't know. Like when I first started, I was like, I'm never gonna be able to find anybody, and then you
yeah,
reach out one time and you'll do like I have a extensive network list
yeah,
of like over 150 different actors now
yeah,
that I have in my like on an Excel sheet or whatever in
yeah.
Google. I can go on and I have all of like whatever their demographics are, or like if it's going to work, or what they like to do, and kind of just like a list of you know.
Do you have a category if they're like good people or like not divas or not? Like, do you have like a personality category? I'm just curious.
It's yeah. I have I guess you would call it a blacklist. No, it's green and red.
I
It's
like
green
it.
and
No,
red.
that's a good idea, right? Because like
Yeah, no,
when it
green and
comes down to
red.
two actors, you'd rather have the one that you like working with than the one you don't, right? So,
Yeah, there's the no showers. Yeah.
oh my God,
It's
no
funny.
show.
I should probably have notes as to why they're red, but if I looked at it, I have a pretty good memory right now. So I'm pretty good at looking at it and be like, oh yeah, that person no showed us. So definitely not going to ask them again. But I still like keep them in there just in case, like I'm looking for a very specific thing or a very specific person or
Gotcha.
because everyone, has their own identity, and that might actually work perfect for this project, and maybe they'll show up on time, and if it has
So
to.
how is the industry like the indie or like kind of film industry guys like yourself in Arizona?
So for me, like I don't do a whole lot of projects like these. Like I had
Okay.
a really successful one for a Rorschach test by that we did the Fallen music video for them, and that was like an epic music video, very high end. Like we did it in
Yeah.
downtown Phoenix. It was super great. And so like I've done some really great projects, but really I'm a digital marketer. So I do social media management. We have a full team here. We have a podcast studio. We have two video bays. We have full video production. So we do a lot of like that for businesses and stuff like that. And that's how like I keep myself really busy. We're really busy doing that. But when these music videos come in, they're really time consuming. There's a lot of work behind them. And
Mhm.
typically the client is like looking to me specific. Alex Chacon is the one that has to
Yeah.
book all the actors, get all of the crew together, make sure all the lighting's
Yeah.
prepped, making sure all the cameras are there, and I have all the lenses and all the camera gear and the gimbal and the C stands and
So
the
you're a producer. You're like you're
so it's like
basically
it's not like yeah, and then getting all those people in that venue and then talking to the venue and negotiating a price for the rental and
yeah.
like and then make yeah, it's like endless amounts of like list of things to do to do these projects. So it's a lot of time to do it. And so I try not to do it a whole lot, but I love to do it. It's fun, specifically when I have a good team. And, now we have a really great team. So, if somebody comes up, I'll do it for the right price, but it's not as much as I used to want to do it because it's a lot of work. It's a
Yeah,
lot of work.
100%. Well,
Yeah.
I'll finish it off with one last point. You have a Broncos hat. Is that just because you like the hat, or are you a fan, or I'm just curious?
I've been a Broncos fan for a long time now. But yeah, I wear hats, so that's part of it. But also, I am a Broncos
You're
fan,
not,
and
so you're not an Arizona Cardinals fan. Yeah.
yeah, I'm born and raised in Arizona, so I like honestly, I like sports in general.
Okay.
I just like humanity being impressive, really.
Yeah.
And
So
when
what's your main sport? What's your number one sport? Football?
I would say football, yeah.
Okay.
I really love F1. I really love F1 racing. Like
Okay.
that's like one of my favorite sports. But in general, like I just used to I was watching when Peyton Manning came to the Broncos and I used to watch all the games. Like I was
Yeah.
just watching. I wasn't a huge fan of any team. And I just ended up really just I watched every game. And then I started going to the games. I used to like
Oh,
travel to Colorado to go and watch Peyton Manning play. And that's kind of like how I became a real true Broncos
I see.
fan.
It's
So,
interesting. Manning like had great seasons in Denver. In the season that he didn't have a great season, they won the Super Bowl. I always found that interesting that
yeah,
the
no,
crushing defeats. I remember that Baltimore defeat. What was that all about? Holy cow.
you call it interesting, I call it annoying, but
Yeah.
whatever.
No other great player has had more crushing defeats. I think
Yeah,
Josh Allen's is getting there. Speaking of
yeah.
Broncos, but
I want Josh to get one for
yeah,
sure.
well, they 9-10 as a I'm from Niagara Falls, so Buffalo Bills true. Nine
Yeah,
times out of 10, we win that game. That was the worst game he played in about 3 years. So,
yeah,
and then we would have beat New England next week too. So basically, but
100%.
Seattle, I don't know, but basically, but anyway, it's still on us, right? But
Yeah,
Peyton, man, crushing defeats, like holy cow! And then,
yeah,
but he got his. I felt so good that he got that Super Bowl in 50, right? That
yeah.
even though he
It
didn't have a
worked
great
out for
year and he
him. He's
retired,
doing
yeah,
just fine with just the one, so that's all good there.
he's a good guy too. He seems like I don't know him personally, but he seems like a pretty good guy. He's very entertaining. He's like so.
He does. He
Yeah, I
does.
used to watch those like Patriots indie games back in the day. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
My wife is a Patriots fan, so we
oh
ended up
boy.
going to that game that went in double overtime. Payne didn't play in
Oh
Denver.
yeah, okay,
Brock
yeah.
Osweiler did, and it was double overtime. it snowed from the first half all the way into double overtime. We weren't prepared for the snow. It was
Yeah.
insane. Crowd was insane, and that's like one of the most memorable games of the last, I would say, decade for sure. That was an incredible experience. So yeah, I know very well the Patriots and Broncos matchups.
Okay. Well, good. I was good. I'm glad I asked. Okay. And let's like you got a good coach now. Got a good. Seems like you have a good quarterback. So it seems like you guys are going to be around for a while. So
Well, let's hope so.
yeah. All right, man. On that note, let's talk again when you make your next film or make the next video. And I'm looking forward to chatting with you. Best of luck with everything.
Awesome. Thanks so much, man.